Good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world, and I am Tim, back once again for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Hungarian Grand Prix, and with me, the newest commentator to join the Speed Force Racing family, Salim. How are you doing?
Good evening, Tim. How are you doing? I'm doing very well. I'm very excited to be here. I have been in the industry for the past 3 years, and this is a new league, a new challenge, new experience, new faces, new names, and I hope that my voice is going to be as ear-pleasing as possible, and I hope that I will remain objective, and that's basically it.
Well, we certainly are welcome to have you and glad that you have decided to join us as we are just now getting underway with the GP2 qualifying and taking a look at Luke Bailey in the Aston Martin. He will be the first driver to start his flying lap. Now, I'm pretty sure that you have actually commentated earlier this week here at this track, so maybe you've gotten a little bit of a sneak preview that I have not yet had. So tell us a little bit about what you think you're going to expect tonight.
Well, I hate to disappoint you, but the race was cancelled. I was meant to commentate yesterday for the GP3, but the race was cancelled due to an insufficient number of drivers. However, I have commentated this year in this version of the game in PSGL, on Hungarian specifically, and I can tell you that we have seen a change of weather, which was very dramatic at the end of the race. So the weather and the strategies are gonna be crucial when it's gonna come to the decider of the victory.
Yeah, and that really is something that is hard for drivers to anticipate, is the weather, because it's a simple enough strategy when you're racing in the dry, especially with the rules this season. Most of the time, you're going to see drivers go medium to hards at a lot of racetracks, or soft to hard, soft to medium, something like that. It's usually a simple, straightforward strategy, but you throw a little bit of wet weather into the mix, and it really makes it a little crazy, and you don't really know the best tire to go on sometimes, and it's a decision that can win or lose a race, intermediates or wets, because sometimes it rains, but it's right there at that cup to where you're not quite sure what tire compound you need to go on.
It's a bet. It's like buying a lottery ticket. You don't know where you're going.
Well, you got to be in it to win it.
Exactly.
So here's something interesting I'm noticing. Every single driver, except for Rage Hunter, has decided to qualify on the soft tires. Now, we only have 4 drivers on the leaderboard right now, but Rage Hunter on the medium compound is actually significantly quicker than those drivers on the softs. Even his teammate, Calvin, they're in P3. So, is this something that maybe these drivers need to be paying attention to?
I definitely think so. I mean, being faster than everyone else on the mediums, that could be a sign that you're a very fast driver. Personally, I'm new to this league. I don't know Rage Hunter's actual pace, but from the first looks of it, it looks like he's a very fast driver.
Well, actually, I'm going to go ahead and apologize for that, because I should have went ahead and updated you. I do forget that you are new, but we will update you here on the point standings here in just a moment. But it's funny you say that he seems to be a very fast driver. He, well, pretty much is. He is leading the point standings right now, 252 points to MDJ's 240 points. So it is a 12-point difference entering the race tonight. MDJ in the Alpha Tauri has not yet got a chance to set a lap. Now, we mentioned Calvin, his team, which is Rage's teammate in the Haas. He's got 154 points in third. So there's really only a 2-driver battle to decide this championship now. Turning to the constructors, Haas, they have almost clinched the championship. If the information I got earlier in the week is correct, they have 422 points to 258 points for Alpha Tauri in second. So Haas has been on a tear this season, and Rage Hunter has been the leading driver thus far.
Well, seeing Haas on top of the constructors, that's not something that you would see in real life, but never say never in the world of motorsports.
Exactly. As a flaky Haas fan, I'll go ahead and say over the last few years, it's something that one day I would like to see, but it's not happening yet.
But I'm sure you were very happy when Kevin Magnussen got that pole position in Interlagos.
I actually was very happy. I think I was asleep, actually, during that qualifying session, so I woke up and went to Reddit, scrolling through the Formula One subreddit, and I'm seeing something about Kevin Magnussen. I'm like, are you kidding me? And sure enough, he got the pole.
Yeah, it was a very emotional one for the team.
Their very first pole, and I was hoping that they could turn that into their very first podium finish, but ultimately that did not happen. Maybe next year that will be in the cards for him. It seems like Haas is sort of on the up slowly but surely, and I know that it's been a controversial decision to take Nico Hülkenberg over Mick Schumacher, but only time will tell at the end of the day if that's the right decision. And if Haas goes out there and gets a decent amount of points next year and has something more to build on, then I'd say it was the right call.
Well, personally, I might be a little bit biased because Nico Hülkenberg is my favorite driver. but but come to think of it, I think it would be bad for rookie drivers to pick Haas as their first ever team. It might be difficult for them because they have a lot of pressure. They need to perform, and they don't have a top tier car, so they're not gonna get a good outcome out of that, and they're gonna be judged and they're gonna be criticized by the media, and some of these drivers are not gonna be able to handle the pressure.
And so that's honestly a very fair point, and I think that that's sort of the situation that Mick Schumacher's found himself in, because Mick Schumacher's statistics back it up. He does have talent, and I don't think that anyone is questioning that. But sadly, he has suffered through a few seasons with a, to put it politely, less than ideal car. Consistently less than ideal car, mind you. So he, like you said, he just did not have the chance to showcase his full potential. And I do hope that he does get another opportunity in the future.
Yeah, the same thing for me. He carries his father's initials. It's a legendary name. I think Michael Schumacher is the reason why most of these people that watch Formula One these days. So it would be very nice to see him in Formula One back again.
And now that we got times on the board, John going quickest with a 1:16.472. So Rage Hunter no longer going for the mediums as I'm just in time spinning around. So we'll take a look at Rage Hunter on his outlap at the moment. So tried the mediums early on, was quicker from the get-go, but now looks like the soft tires are the preferred qualifying tire. Now, what do you think we're going to see in the race? Are some of these drivers going to try to start on softs, or is it going to be more of a medium to hard strategy? Because I've heard that on some of these tracks, the soft tire is an abysmal race time.
Well, a general rule of thumb, if you're starting from at least the top 10 positions, you gotta start from the softer compound. And if you're starting from the bottom 10, it would be nicer to start on the medium compound. That way, your fuel tank is going to be lighter somewhere at the...
Rage Hunter spinning around.
That's unfortunate.
Well, he's got plenty of time. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, if you start on the mediums, and then somewhere in the middle or near the end of the race, you're going to have an empty tank of fuel, and you're going to pit in for softs, so you're going to have a lighter car and a faster tire compound, so this might give you a slight advantage at the end of the race.
So would you say that the reverse strategy might be the preferred option, and if maybe your Rage Hunter with pace on the mediums, maybe you should gamble even if you're in the top 10? Or is that just out of the question?
I mean, if you're in the top 10, it would be better to drive on the softer compound, so that way you would stay in the lead of the race, because you don't want to be away, and you don't want to be caught into traffic.
Yeah, and traffic really will be a factor here today. We do have, 1.5 you could say, DRS zones, but technically 2 DRS zones here around this track. Of course, the one that you're going to see the most overtaking is the one down the front stretch. Nice long straightaway entering turn number 1. Then straight out of turn number 1, there is another DRS zone. Not going to see a lot of overtakes there, maybe a few, but it's very short and sweet.
Well, you know when I tell you never say never? I have seen an overtake on turn 2.
Oh, go ahead.
Which is the turn that the Ferrari just took, and the McLaren is just taking right now. Sonic Hawk.
I've certainly seen some overtakes there. Now, it is a little bit difficult, but it has happened. In fact, I believe in a separate league last season, I saw a 3-wide overtake through that corner. But don't quote me on that. I've slept since then. So taking a look at Unbeaten Sign. At the moment, he's on his outlap in the 3rd sector now, so he'll be starting, or just now entering the 3rd sector, actually. So he will be starting his flying lap here in just a moment. His best time, a 119.3, so a banker lap there. He's definitely going to be looking for quite a few more seconds to get up there to Jime's 116.4, but it's Jime, Martin, Calvin, Cassidy, Rage Hunter, your top 5 at the moment, as Unbeaten Sign starts his flying lap with just under 5.5 minutes remaining.
Well, Tim, if you take a look at the sky, well, when the qualifying session started, it seemed that we had a lot of clouds. Take a look now. We can see the blue sky. Seems that the weather is getting better. No rain in the quali.
And it's a shame that we don't have access to the weather forecast, because I would love to know what they're predicting. As Unbeaten Sign goes very wide and lucky to not invalidate there, but I would love to know what they're predicting for the weather in the race, as now we do see an invalidation from Unbeaten Sign, so he's going to have to rack 'em, stack 'em, and try it again, as we'll go now to Cabrinicon in the Alpine. Best time is 11th on the board so far, a 117.5, but they are on their flying lap at the moment, bypassing the pit entry. Let's see what they've got.
And in the meantime, Rage Hunter was able to get a 116.0, giving him a provisional pole position. That is a flying lap. Nearly 4/10 faster than Jime.
Very good lap from Rage Hunter. And, you know, like we said, that very close points battle between him and MDJ with just a handful of races remaining, it's really heating up. So Rage Hunter knows that he needs every advantage that he can get. Starting on the pole, getting a good start, maybe breaking the DRS in those opening laps before the DRS is activated. All those are crucial little steps that could make or break this championship for him. Looks like all the drivers starting to come out on track for their final flying laps. We are watching Cabrinicon at the moment. Rage Hunter still the fastest with a 116.0. Then Jime and Martin, your top 3. Rage Hunter's teammate of Calvin in P4. Then Cassidy rounding out the top 5.
Well, the rules are very simple. If you want to start from first, you got to beat that lap time, which is a 116.080. 3 minutes to go.
Let's see if Cabrinicon can get close. They cross the line, and an improvement to P5, a 116.676 for Cabrinicon. Take a look at Luke Bailey now in the Aston Martin. I believe he just now started his flying lap. Right on board with him. Just barely clipping the curb there in turn number 1. And I really like to ride on board sometimes and watch the differences between the drivers' racing lines, because you know, you'll notice just subtle differences. Maybe one driver clips a curve here where another one doesn't. And it's just amazing to see how that can alter a lap time.
Well, of course, every driver has a specific braking point, a specific turning point. I can remember what Lewis Hamilton said the time he started karting. He would ask his father to stand up on a specific point on the circuit, so that he can memorize where to hit the brakes. So, yeah, everyone has a different perception of the track, and this is why we have different lap times.
I actually remember hearing him in that interview talk about that story, and I think that he said that his father would watch the faster drivers and figure out where they're braking. Then he would stand a little bit further down the racetrack and tell Lewis to brake there. And Lewis said the first time that happened, he ended up in a pond. Oh my! I couldn't imagine having to swim out of that and fish the cart out. As Luke Bailey goes fourth quickest at 1:16.641, just under a minute and a half remaining. So it is go time now. If you're not out of the pits, well, I'm sorry to say you might have missed your opportunity. Rage Hunter is in the pits, but he's coming out just now, so maybe he's got enough time. It's going to be close for Rage Hunter, but we'll see if he can get around and set one final flying lap. Otherwise, he's going to have to settle for a 16.0. Jime there in second place. Let's take a look at him. Of course, another driver we have to note is MDJ, as Jime has invalidated. So here's MDJ in the AlphaTauri, Rage Hunter's closest and only realistic competitor in the championship with just a few races remaining. 12 points separating Rage Hunter and MDJ entering the race tonight. MDJ P10 with a 117.2, a far cry from Rage Hunter's 116.0. That is not the deficit that MDJ wants to see between him and Rage Hunter. Let's see what he can do here. This will be his final opportunity at a flying lap as he enters into the third sector, purple in the second.
One sector to go now as he heads into turn 13. Very careful on the throttle. You don't want to oversteer. Short shifts into fourth. Goes down to fourth once again. DRS enabled. Across the finish line. And it's a provisional pole position, a 116.006. My goodness, what a lap that was.
That is fantastic from MDJ. Let's see if Rage Hunter can challenge him. He was just able to get across the line before the qualifying session ended. This will be Rage Hunter's only opportunity to get the pole position back. MDJ a 116.006 on the board right now. Everyone is chasing that time, and you are watching the championship battle, well, the preview anyway, fold out right before your eyes. Now, you saw MDJ move out of the way of Rage Hunter, knowing that he was on a fast lap. Good sportsmanship there. They're competitors, they're rivals, but there is still respect.
Well, you always got to appreciate the sportsmanship in the game. It separates the good people from the bad ones. You know how decent the qualities of these people are.
And Rage Hunter was quicker in the second sector than his personal best. Let's see if he holds on to it through the third and final sector. This is for the provisional pole. This could actually be for the pole. Rage Hunter, the last driver here. He crosses the line. Does he get the pole? Yes, he does. A 115.915. Rage Hunter, your pole sitter today.
1/10 faster than MDJ. Wow. And when you think it was over, it was far from being over.
Rage Hunter finding the time when it counted. So now Rage Hunter MDJ starting 1-2, much like they have entered this race in the championship battle.
Well, I would like to take a moment and take a look at the chats. We have Gareth Vickers telling us good luck tonight, guys. Thank you, Gareth. Shadow Lancer Racing saying hello, boys. Hello, Shadow. We have Car Brian saying he forgot to open his DRS. And we have a Bossy Gaming saying it's Psycho Mitch time.
I'll explain that in a minute, but your official starting lineup for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Hungarian Grand Prix: Rage Hunter on the pole with MDJ in second, Jime in third, fourth is Martin, fifth is Cassidy, Luke Bailey in sixth, Calvin in seventh, eighth is Cabrinicon, Sonicock in ninth, 10th is Lord Lamb, I'm Just in Time in 11th, Milton in 12th, 13th is Unbeaten Sign, KXI in 14th, and 15th is Mansell with Bossy Gaming in the 16th position. Now, to explain the Psychomich joke to you, there was a driver back in GP4 a couple of years ago named Psychomich, and it did not matter where he qualified, as long as it was outside the top 10, obviously. He would always start on hard tires. Didn't matter the track, didn't matter where he qualified, didn't matter what car he was in. He always started on hard tires. And it became such a normal thing, we dubbed it Psychomich things. And to be fair, he almost got a podium in Mexico with that strategy too. He got caught up in a wreck, sadly, and lost out on that, but it was going well for him. So now, every time someone starts on hards, I call it Psychomich things.
All right. Thank you for the explanation.
Now, another thing we got to introduce you to here is it's time for our top 3 predictions in any order. Of course, you don't win anything except bragging rights, but it's just a nice little fun thing. So, this being your first GP2 race, all you've really seen is the qualifying, but what's your top 3 predictions in any order?
I gotta see the names so I can, because I did not memorize them, but I think that the pole sitter is gonna be the race winner. I forgot his name.
Rage Hunter.
Rage Hunter, yeah, exactly. I think he's gonna finish in first. And well, basically, the first and the second drivers are gonna stay the way they are. These are my predictions. For the third place, I'm not really too sure, and I apologize. It's because I'm still new, and I don't know everyone's pace. But I would like to tell our dear viewers that now you have enough time to run to the kitchen and grab yourselves your favorite snacks and drinks, because after that we are going to be racing at Hungarian.
Yeah, formation lap just about to start. I'll go ahead and get my top 3 predictions in, and I'm going to go ahead and agree with you that Rage Hunter and MDJ, I do believe that we're going to see them on the podium at the end of the day. And as far as for the final driver to grace the podium, and my predictions are just in any particular order, there's honestly a lot of promising drivers looking through that field, but I just feel like maybe Luke Bailey has got it in him today to get up there.
Luke Bailey is a familiar name. I'm not sure whether I've seen him race in a different league.
He actually has raced in quite a few leagues. I'm not sure how many, though.
The sim racing community is a small one, and you're always going to meet people that you previously met.
And taking a look at the tire choices and the top 8 going on medium tires. Sonic Hawk, the only driver in the top 10 to be going on the soft compound tires, and Lord Lamb, the first driver doing Psychomich things, and of course Bossy Gaming, as he alluded to, down there in P16 doing Psychomich things as well. Then we got mediums for everyone else, save for Mantle and P15 going on the soft. So Mantle definitely looking at an aggressive strategy for him.
Yeah, soft from P15. I don't know, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be difficult for him also to overtake drivers, especially that there are almost no overtaking zones except for the main straight. So it's going to be very challenging for him. It's a big gamble, whatever he's doing.
Yeah, and I guess we'll see what happens there with him. Of course, it's not where you start, it's where you finish, and we'll find out if it works for him at the end of these 35 laps around the Hungaroring. The drivers finding their appropriate positions on the grid. Rage Hunter MDJ, 1 and 2 in the championship, 1 and 2 to start the race. How will they finish at the end of 35 laps, as you see a few drivers having some issues getting into the box on the grid, but that's going to be okay because we are ready to go. And you hear those engines revving, you hear those itchy pedal feet, the drivers watching the lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in the air. No red lights. We are green for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Hungarian Grand Prix. Rage Hunter and MDJ still 1-2. 3 wide challenge. Going into turn number 1 from the Williams of Jime. He has to back out of it though. And MDJ on the inside. Does he have the preferred line? Yes, he does. Into first place with Jime in second now, getting by Rage Hunter. Rage from first to third in just one corner. And we got a crash already. Who is that? Lord Lamb is out. And we got a yellow flag in sector 1. Does that transition into a safety car, a VSC, it looks like at the moment.
Already a safety car. Like we barely started a single lap and already we have a safety car. But this might come in handy if you've messed up your tire choice, so you get a free chance to change your tires and to change your strategy.
Well, I actually think it's just a virtual safety car, so depending on how long the virtual safety car conditions last, that might not be the best option for these drivers, but it is something to note that albeit a very minimal difference. This will give the drivers a chance to give their tires a bit of a breather. Granted, it's still the first lap, so there's hardly anywhere whatsoever, but I guess you got to take what you can get.
Exactly, you gotta take every single chance that you have, and it's strange to see how Rage Hunter. Oh, so the flags go green, the cars go vroom once again, and it seems that MDJ is gonna be starting from first, and we have Cassidy who was able to overtake Brian Kahn.
Cassidy P4 back there in the Alfa Romeo. Cabrinicon looking on the inside. Does he get the job done into turn number 1? Yes, he does, but does he clear him? Yes, Cabrinicon into P4, Cassidy P5 trying to get back around. Remember, no DRS at this time, so these overtakes, they're raw pace. And look at Calvin there in P6, looking underneath Cassidy for the 5th position. Had to back out of it, couldn't make anything of it that time. Has to follow him through, and Calvin definitely waiting on the DRS. Not the best at qualifying, especially compared to his teammate Haas running 3rd and 6th at the moment.
If you take a look at Rage Hunter, seems that he was getting very close to Jaime, but oh, he lost some time there on, I believe it is turn 7. Of course, there's not going to be DRS in the first 3 laps. And after that, the DRS is going to help the drivers to overtake the drivers ahead if they are within 1 second of the driver ahead.
And Jaime really in jeopardy of losing that 1 second cushion, so Jaime needs to kick it into high gear here and get close to MDJ. Of course, MDJ, knowing that DRS is coming up, trying desperately to break that 1 second margin, and looks like he has done so, at least for now. Let's see if Jaime is able to get the DRS into turn at number 2. Don't think it's going to work, and there is no rear wing opening, so MDJ successfully defended against the DRS, at least that time. But Rage Hunter had some DRS on Jaime, so now Jaime might be looking in his rearview mirror a little bit more.
And if you oh, that's the Alfa Romeo of Cassidy going off track, and it's, oh my goodness, it's the Red Bull of Milton into the wall. He's out.
And that brings out another VSC. Actually surprised that's not a safety car. Of course, I'm not complaining, but that is a shame for Milton and also Cassidy as well. But it looked like you got a good view of that, so can you tell us what happened?
Well, from what I saw the Alfa Romeo of Cassidy going off track. Seems that there was something in his way and he was trying to avoid it, so he narrowly avoided it, and then I saw there was a collision between 2 cars. I failed to identify the first one. The second one was Milton, who went straight into the wall, and now he's in a better place in the pits.
Well, I'd say that he'd argue that a better place would be on the top spot of the podium, but does not look like that's in the cards for him today. But we're back racing now, and Calvin in P5, maybe not the way he wanted to get P5, but all the same, he's trying to challenge challenge against Unbeaten Sign's advances there as he goes to the inside, now back to the outside, but Calvin will stay ahead only just, but Unbeaten Sign looking on the outside of the Haas car and almost got the job done, but ultimately had to back out of it there. He does have some DRS on him, but not a lot of advantage.
You know, it's funny how his name is Sign. He's driving a Ferrari, so I might as well call him Unbeaten Carlos Sainz.
and you know, for the Carlos Sainz fans, if only that were true. Sadly, he lost a lot of races that he could have won this year, but he still got it done in Silverstone.
Yeah, Silverstone was, in my opinion, was the best race of the season. In terms of overtaking, in terms of race results, it was just wow.
And let's see if we're going to see an overtake of our own here from Rage Hunter on Jaime as we got a yellow flag. What's happened?
Mansell spun.
So Mansell trying that aggressive strategy on the soft tires, not working for him. Looks like he's going to have to pull into the pits for another set of Dr. Feelgoods and get back out there.
That's a good analogy. And it seems that his tires are overheating. He's failing to keep the car in a straight line.
Meanwhile, Rage Hunter tried to overtake John, could not get it done in turn number 1. Another attempt here in turn 2, but not close enough to really have anything happen. Made up some ground, though, and that is crucial. Of course, while Rage Hunter is stuck behind John, MDJ is pulling away in the lead, 1.8 seconds now, separating him in second place.
Well, I'm currently on board with Calvin Racing, who was trying to overtake Car Brian on turn 4 around the outside, but it did not happen. He had to back off. And he's now continuing. Well, you know, in racing, they tell you. I don't know if you played Gran Turismo. Have you played Gran Turismo?
Yes.
Yeah. In race etiquette, they tell you that if you feel that you're not going to be able to pull that overtaking move, just back off. Don't do it. Don't go for it. Keep your sportsman skills, because it's better to lose the race than to lose respect. To lose your respect.
And it's also a matter of there's a time and place to be aggressive, and then there's a time and place to calm down and just wait and kind of let the race come to you, right? So you're not going to win a race on lap 1. A co-commentator of mine actually in another league, as we see a battle for 4th place between Calvin and Cabriticon. A little bit of bumping and banging there from the Alpine into the Haas, and side by side, and Cabriticon will hang on to the spot for now. Calvin Racing, oh, he loses another spot to Unbeaten Sign going around the outside.
So instead of overtaking the Alpine, he yielded a position to the Ferrari.
Yeah, so Calvin's going to have to regroup and try to attack them again. Now, we'll note that all of these drivers are on the same age tires and same compound, so there's no difference between the tire compounds at the moment, save for, well, Sonicok back there in that McLaren. He is on the soft compound tires, but 5 laps on him already. They will probably start to slow down here sooner rather than later, so Calvin Racing definitely having an advantage over the boss man behind him, but I'd say that he's more concerned with getting the 2 cars ahead. Unbeaten Sign, though, it seems that maybe we have underrated him. P5 already and doing a great job. He seems like he's got a decent car.
And we have Sonic Hawk going to the pits after completing 6 laps on the soft. Do you think 6 laps is the maximum for the soft on a track like Hungarian?
I don't think that 6 laps is the maximum, but I think that what we're seeing from Sonic Hawk is maybe trying an undercut, because we saw him, you know, not really being a contender for the podium positions, quite obviously, right? Because look at how far away MDJ is compared to Jime and Rage Hunter. But I think what we're seeing from Sonic Hawk is an attempt at a dramatic undercut to see just how much he can advance his position.
And he pits for hards, so he might be on the hards till the end of the race.
So that would be about 21 laps, I believe.
Yeah. If he manages to keep his tires in a good condition.
Or no, 28 laps. Or I've always said don't trust my math, so this is proof. Don't trust my math. It's lap 7 of 35. I'll let everyone else do their math. So Unbeaten Sign still holding strong in P5, but opened the door for Calvin there for a moment. Calvin actually had to back off to avoid hitting the Ferrari. So with this DRS train, it doesn't look like there's going to be any moves for position. All the same, Calvin at least had a look, but couldn't make anything with it. Oh, and look at Cassidy. He had a bit of an issue earlier on in the race, but he has found himself rebounding and fighting with some cars. Now is, wow, Unbeaten Sign gets very loose, and now Calvin gets underneath him. Oh, and Calvin very loose now. So Calvin and Unbeaten Sign duking it out like it's the last lap here. It's lap 8, though. Calvin in P5 in the Haas. Unbeaten Sign in the Ferrari. We're on board with him now. A lot of dancing with that wheel.
Well, we have a yellow flag. It's Mansell Williams.
Mansell again, so a bad day going to worse for the Williams driver. And that really is just the definition of Mansell's season. He will either have a really bad day where he just keeps having problems, or he'll have a bad day where he struggles and somehow gets onto the podium. Sadly, I don't think we're going to be seeing him on the podium today.
He goes straight to the pits.
And I'd say that this might just be a retirement for Mansell at this point. He is a lap down, but we'll wait and see. A 5-second speeding penalty, that will definitely be a retirement from Mansell.
You know, I don't really favor retirement. Even if you're in last position, never give up. I mean, you always have a chance. Do you remember what happened to Jenson Button back in 2011 in Canada, Montreal?
I do not.
He won the race starting from last in a very dramatic race.
How many cars were in the field back then?
20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I believe 20. In motorsports, never say never. It's not over until the first car reaches the finish line. And as a tangible proof, we saw what happened last year in the championship. Max Verstappen was able to win the championship at the very last lap of the race. So never say never. Don't give up. Keep on trying.
And couldn't have said it better myself. I know that I personally have seen championships lost in the final corner of the final lap because a driver ran out of fuel.
That's gonna hurt. Oh, contact between Calvin Racing and Carbine. Seems Calvin was running faster than him. Now with the DRS enabled, he's gonna try to.
Oh, and now we got an overtake actually for second place as Jime actually spun. So Rage Hunter gets into P2, but, well, it was an overtake. Just not what we thought.
I'm sure there are a lot of bad words running in Jime's head right now.
And I guarantee you, I've said them all. So MDJ in the lead. There you see him, and there you see his view, which is, well, pretty much nothing. Just a clear track ahead. That's all he wants to see. Rage Hunter in P2, 6 seconds behind. Then Cabriticon in P3 at the moment. And then Calvin Racing very close behind him, 0.2 of a second, waiting for the DRS, waiting for an opportunity to get around the Alpine. All these drivers have yet to pit. It's lap 10 of 35. We should be seeing pit stops before too long, but at the moment we're just enjoying this line of cars. A bit of a DRS train, but there has been some jostling around for positions. So let's see what Calvin can do here. Cabriticon is going to be a sitting duck, and Calvin, it looks like he got a decent exit out of the corner. Cabriticon cannot do a lot to defend here. Calvin looking on the inside, still cannot get the job done.
Oh, that's a wide exit from Carbine now. DRS with Calvin. So he's going to be going around the outside line. But Carbine closes the door on him. It's not going to be in this lap.
And you know, we're almost seeing bits of desperation from Calvin in a sense, because you see him time and time again diving and trying to get underneath Cabriticon, but then just cannot make it work. And I thought for a moment he might have had an opportunity on the outside into turn 2, but ultimately was not able to happen. But I definitely see Calvin getting a little bit aggressive. Maybe that's the better word. Not desperation, but more aggressiveness from him.
Well, I mean, you can understand him. He has to get aggressive, and he has to get that move done, because only 3/10 behind, you have Cassidy, and you have Unbeaten Sign, and look, Bailey. It seems that Carbine is the sitting duck right now, and he's slowing everyone down. So you gotta overtake him and get done with it.
And Calvin might have the opportunity he's looking for here. Looked like he got a better exit than Cabriticon, and he did, but is he going to be close enough? Looking on the outside this time, might have caught the Alpine just a bit off guard, and what I think Calvin just did was a pro move. If he can get it done here into turn 2, Cabriticon tries to fend him off, can't do it. Some contact between Calvin and Cabriticon. Calvin gets the job done. Cabriticon going a bit wide there, and now Cabriticon settles back into 4th, but my goodness, he was not going to give that up without a fight. But what you were saying On the last lap, Cabrinicon had a bit of a wider exit. I think that Calvin took note of that and actually took that away, because you saw that really killed the Alpine's exit, and that was the deciding factor of getting Calvin into third place.
During that time, we have seen the retirement of Jaime and the retirement of Mansell. So we're left with 12 drivers for the rest of the race. That's a bit sad to see drivers retiring.
And I want to know what happened with John, because, you know, he was so fast. Definitely a top 3 contender today. And then he spun out, and now he's out of the race. Not sure what happened to him. Maybe he'll chime in and let us know later, but still sad to see, because it could have been a very good day for him.
From my analysis, I assume it's a rage quit.
Well, I know what those are like. So Cabrinicon, P4 still, and he's holding strong within the DRS zone, but only just on Calvin. Looks like Calvin definitely quicker than that Alpine. He just had to get around him, and wow, Unbeaten Sign having another moment out of that corner. We saw him a few laps ago get loose out of that corner, and you saw him having to correct the car once again. So meanwhile, Cabrinicon is probably starting to feel the pressure from Cassidy just behind him, who is trying to get into 4th place here. Cassidy doing a good job to rebound back into the top 5 after an unfortunate spin earlier in the race.
We have Bossy Gaming heading to the pits. We have seen him spin a couple of turns ago. I hope he's not retiring.
Well, you'll actually like this. Bossy Gaming, he actually was a race engineer for me when I was racing early on in Speed Force Racing, as my goodness, Calvin Racing has spun on his own through the final corner. That was the 3rd place car. Now he's down to 7th, and that has got to be just an awful feeling.
Well, it's like kissing your championship goodbye.
Well, Calvin, he was 3rd place and almost 100 points behind Rage Hunter. I'm not sure that he even has an opportunity mathematically to get into the lead. All the same, that is a shame, because he could have at least had a podium, and now it's not completely out of the question, but definitely a tall ladder to climb to get back up there.
No, it's a very tense situation when these things happen to you. I can recall what happened to Sebastian Vettel in Hockenheim 2018. He was leading the championship, and he was driving in his home Grand Prix, but one tiny mistake sent him into the wall, and he lost the championship because of that. So you gotta be very careful, aware, and consistent.
Yeah, and that was before I started watching F1, but I have actually seen that crash, and you can hear the heartbreak in his voice, right?
It was painful to watch, me being a Ferrari fan at that time.
I'm a Vettel fan, so it was a bit emotional watching him leave, you know, after Abu Dhabi. Is Cassidy maybe having to move on Cabrinicon now, and does he get it done? Cabrinicon on the outside, though, that might be where he wants to be. The question is, though, who's got the DRS? Looks like it's going to be Cassidy into turn 2, but Cassidy does give Cabrinicon some room on the inside, and will he be able to take advantage of that? No, Cabrinicon back to P4.
Well, Cabrinicon seems like a very aggressive driver. He's not willing to let go of that position that easily without a fight.
And Cabrinicon actually sliding into the wall there. Not sure if maybe he got it, if he clipped a curb or what happened, but definitely Cabrinicon not too happy anymore.
That's probably the commentator's curse. We're talking about him.
Well, after a bit of a chaotic race at this point, as Luke Bailey now is out of the race. What's happened to Luke Bailey?
I wasn't able to catch that, unfortunately.
I think what might have happened, I saw a car go wide off the track. I'm almost wondering if Luke Bailey, yes, Luke Bailey went way too wide and hit the wall. So is this a safety car or a VSC? That's the question. However, this does help some of our drivers. Rage Hunter pitting from second on the hard compound tires. Now, MDJ, he must have missed the pit, so we'll see what he does here in a moment.
And this is going to leave us with 11 drivers.
Oh, and Rage Hunter, a speeding penalty, drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC.
You know, this is going to be very painful for him, especially that he's trying his best to fight for the lead of the race.
And
it seems. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and you know, since we're under the VSC, and you see now that we are back under green flag conditions, this would have potentially been very, very good for Rage Hunter because he might have been able to get past MDJ because he is on fresher tires and because MDJ is now having to pit under the green flag. Rage Hunter had the opportunity to get by MDJ through pit stops, but now Rage Hunter has to come in and serve that drive-through penalty, so that is no longer going to be the case. Not going to say he can't win the race, because if there is still a late race safety car, we can see Rage Hunter bounce back, and we've seen him do it before. But that is going to be very, very costly for him today.
And he's going to the pits.
And MDJ just now getting out, so it seems as though Rage Hunter would not have overtaken MDJ anyway. But the question is, would he have gained any time on him without that speeding penalty?
It's a matter of time, you know. So we are halfway through the race, I believe.
So it's MDJ, Unbeaten Sign, and Cabrinicon, your top three. And yeah, Bossy Gaming picking up a time penalty there.
Well, you can see all of the drivers are now on the hard compound. Most of them are on fresh, except for the McLaren.
And so at this point, yeah, we will be seeing these drivers go to the end of this race on these compounded tires, unless of course there's a safety car, because then that's when your brain starts to work a little bit and think, well, should I pit for this compound or that compound, right? And depending on what lap it is, you could see a lot of drivers dive down for soft tires if a late race safety car happens. But it is important to note that we saw Sonichawk pit after only 6 laps on the soft tires, so you'd be cutting it very close.
Well, safety cars halfway through the race is like a Christmas present for any driver. It's like a free pit stop.
But we'll see if Christmas is going to come early for any of these drivers. I'd say that for Unbeaten Sign and Cabrinicon and Rage Hunter as well, they definitely would enjoy that idea, considering the fact that MDJ is 13 seconds ahead of second place and a little over 20 seconds ahead of them.
I'll take a look at Rage Hunter. He is getting very close to Carbine Con.
On board with Rage Hunter. Really putting the pressure on him, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, but we have seen what kind of driver Carbine Con is. He's not willing to give his positions that easily. Might be a difficult job for Rage Hunter.
Well, Rage got... Yeah, and you know, Rage got by him once. We'll see if he's going to be able to do it again. He's going to have DRS coming up on the front straightaway, so the best thing for Rage to do now is just maximize his exits. Try to stick as close to that Alpine as possible. Of course, Cabrinicon, he is going to be preparing for that, and they will be using their ERS certainly down the front straightaway, so we'll see who wins this little battle, as now something has happened to Lord Lamb, unfortunately. Lord Lamb, actually, the first retirement, he just decided to leave the session, so unfortunate for him, but maybe we'll see him rebound next week, as now Rage Hunter has got the DRS on Cabrinicon, fakes him out, tries to go to the outside, then goes to the inside, some contact between the two drivers. My goodness.
Brian Con is not going to make it that easy.
No, he definitely isn't. And that was a good move from Rage Hunter, though, I do have to say. He went to the outside and made Cabrinicon think that that's the move he was going to try to do. Then he went to the inside, and I don't know if Cabrinicon tried to go over and react and block that move and just went over late, but somehow they made contact, and it didn't quit through the corner.
And Calvin Racing was able to overtake the Alfa Romeo of Cassidy on turn 7, jumping up to P5.
So now the two Haas drivers running 4th and 5th, and that's probably a bit of a sigh of relief for Rage Hunter, knowing that he's got his teammate right behind him, so Calvin can be a small shield against any advances that Cassidy might be planning.
Take a look at the Mercedes of I'm just in time. He seems to be just in time for the DRS in the next lap.
Well, Rage Hunter certainly was not going into one this time. Let's see what I'm Just in Time can do, though. Right there on the back of KXI. Here's a look at our time penalties, meanwhile, as I'm Just in Time does have 3 seconds, whereas Bossy Gaming was 6 down there in P11. But let's see if I'm Just in Time can get around KXI. On the inside, underneath the Red Bull. Side-by-side battle. And he gets the job done. Does he make it stick? He clears him, should have the DRS once again, and I'm Just in Time moves into 7th.
Through he goes.
Back to the battle for 3rd between Cabrinicon and Rage Hunter. MDJ still leading, very dominant in this race today. Unbeaten sign in P2. Then Cabrinicon and Rage Hunter 3rd and 4th. Rage Hunter entering this race today was the points leader. I believe he will still hold on to the points lead if they finish how they run now, but MDJ will be a bit closer to him, and Rage Hunter trying to mitigate how much MDJ gains on him today by getting by Cabrinicon. We've seen him have a few opportunities, a few attempts, has not worked in his favor thus far, but maybe this time he'll have something to challenge the Alpine.
Oh, yellow flag. Here we go. Cassidy is going to the pits. You know, is this an AlphaTauri car in the pits? It's Bossy Gaming. Retiring.
Oh, and Bossy Gaming has retired.
So we only have 10 drivers remaining, which means everyone is going to be receiving points today.
Well, I'd say that is definitely a welcoming sound to these drivers. You know that it is discouraging to go out there and race and then finish, 12th or 13th or something and not even walk away with points. So finishing in the top 10, at least they'll have a decent day.
Well, to finish the race, they need to finish first. Finish, first, not finish first.
So lap 22 of 35 here, slowly approaching the closing stages of this race. You're watching the battle for 3rd on your screen between Cabrinicon, Rage Hunter, and Calvin Racing. These 3 cars have been running in a line for the past 5 to 7 laps or so at least. MDJ has dominated this race with a 16-second lead now over Unbeaten Sign. And, of course, the championship battle between Rage Hunter and MDJ is still raging on strong, but MDJ with a bit of an advantage today is Rage Hunter looking underneath of Cabrinicon into turn at number 1. Does he get the job done? Yes, he does. And he'll have the DRS again going into turn 2. Cabrinicon, though, he found some speed looking on the outside of Rage. Can't get the job done, though. So now, does Rage pull away from Cabrinicon? I think that he is a little bit faster than that Alpine, but we have seen how quick the Alpine can be today.
Well, Cabrinicon has been very fast, and he has been superbly defensive with his maneuvers, with his defensive maneuvers, to be accurate.
And MDJ running the fastest lap of the session, a 119.228 up there in first place, just showing off a little bit. So Rage Hunter already putting 0.8 of a second between him and Cabrinicon. Let's see if that increases further before they get to the DRS detection zone. I do believe that the Alpine's going to have DRS, but only just as Rage Hunter just not quite able to break that 1 second gap. It's lap 23 of 35 now.
So MDJ is still leading. He was able to create a 17-second gap lead to unbeaten sign, who is the nearest driver to him.
And you know,
17 seconds is a lot.
That is, MDJ almost has a free pit stop. Not that he would need it, but should the need arise, he is close. He still needs a few more seconds, and I don't think that he's going to get quite to that point. All the same, that is a huge margin.
Cassidy was able to overtake Sonic Hawk on turn 1, making good use of the DRS. And they have a yellow flag. Looks like this is an orange car. No, a red car. Oh, yeah. Unbeaten Sign has spun and lost quite some time.
And now Rage Hunter, 2 seconds behind Unbeaten Sign. Will he pass him? Does Unbeaten Sign stay out on the track? Unbeaten Sign will stay out on the track in second place. No wing damage that I can see, so maybe, just maybe, he's going to be okay. I'm sure his tires are going to be screaming, and now he's going to be sweating because Rage Hunter has gotten a lot closer to him now. 1.7, 1.8 seconds. Rage Hunter close, but not close enough yet for the DRS, but Rage Hunter can see second place ahead. If Rage Hunter finished in second, that would severely mitigate the advantage that MDJ will be gaining on him in the championship, as you see his teammate now, Calvin Racing, trying to overtake Cabrinicon. Cabrinicon on the inside, Calvin on the outside, but Calvin might have the preferred line through the next corner. Still a side-by-side battle. Calvin has to back out of it. Cabrinicon holds on to fourth for now.
It's the fastest lap for Cassidy, a 1:18.5. Well, Calvin is only 2/10 behind Brian Kahn. He might make good use of the DRS next lap, as long as he's less than a second behind the Alpine driver.
Meanwhile, Unbeaten Sign has been able to put a little bit more distance between him and Rage Hunter, so maybe the Ferrari is going to be okay. But Calvin Racing trying to find a way into P4. Let's see what he can do. Now, just for context, we're watching the 5th place car of Calvin right now, who just crossed the start-finish line. MDJ is already a quarter of the way through the second sector as Calvin Racing does get the job done on Cabrinicon into turn number 1, but the Alpine fighting back, and oh, some contact between the two. Does Calvin clear him? Yes, he does. So now Calvin into P4.
Oh, the Alpine is fighting back. I thought he was going to go for it on turn 5. Brian Kahn. He is really courageous to try to pull it like he needs.
It just seems like he's scratching and clawing for everything that he can get. He's losing some time now to Calvin. Maybe that's all that he has. I guess we'll see. He's going a little bit wide there. He's got to be careful to not do that too many times, lest he pick up a time penalty. As MDJ going through turn number 2 now. That's how far ahead he is of everyone else on lap 26 of 35, so 10 laps to go now.
Well, Brian Kahn made a dive bomb, managing to narrowly avoid Calvin. And he lost some time as a result.
Yeah, you saw it up to about 1.1 seconds there, now down to 0.9, but does he have the DRS? No, you can see that rear wing close, so a disadvantage there for the Alpine. Maybe he can find the DRS, though, on Calvin, but Calvin looks like he might be a little bit quicker than him as well. Of course, Rage Hunter and Calvin, most of the time you do see them fairly close on the racetrack. It is no coincidence that Haas is leading the constructors by such a significant margin, and that they are 1 and 3 in the standings.
Oh, we have a yellow flag, and it's KXI in the grass on turn 1. And he's going back on track, and from last position. That's up. He's still struggling to keep his car running straight. That was a reset to track. I'm not sure whether these are allowed or not in this league. Are they allowed?
They are not.
I didn't see anything there.
The stewards might be looking at that later.
I don't want to be the source of his penalties. We didn't see anything. No, he's just driving, yeah.
Well, ultimately, it is the steward's decision on what to do. So, what I always say, I'm just glad I'm not a steward, right? Because it would be a difficult job sometimes.
I don't know if you've seen The Office, the series.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? And Michael Scott says that it's very difficult for him to fire someone. And I can relate. So it's very difficult to give someone a punishment, a reprimand or penalty points.
And, you know, who knows what's going to come of that, I suppose. But we will see. All the same, I know that with it being lap 27 of 35, time is running out for anyone to challenge MDJ. Of course, they would need a safety car to get back up to MDJ due to how fast that AlphaTauri is here today. Really on a clinch performance, trying to solidify his championship hopes. He's second place in the championship coming into the race today, but very close to Rage Hunter. He is gaining on Rage Hunter at the moment, not by much, but he's doing what he has to, when he has to keep his hopes alive.
And if you take a look at the gap between every other car, every car and the car behind, it seems that it's more than a second. So it would be safe to say that the race has started to become a little bit boring. So no more action on track at the time now.
Yeah, and at the moment they are just running out the laps, unless, of course, something were to happen. And, well, look at that, a yellow flag in Sector 1, and that is KXI actually DNFing, and now we do have a safety car.
Ooh.
Okay, so the race is not over yet. This brings everybody back into play. MDJ's absolutely dominant performance, well, not coming to an end, but having a bit of a challenge. And, of course, as expected, MDJ diving down into the pits. Oh, boy, what tires does he choose? Well, it'd have to be the softs, though, right?
It has to be the softs.
But just imagine, that, just like you said, late race safety car is like Christmas coming early. So he has got all the choices in the world.
So, ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
Exactly. He could go on the intermediates if he wanted, but there's no reason why he would.
You know, I'm really surprised how this pin caused this. Oh no, what happened? Oh, KXI DNF. Ah, sorry, I missed that. So that's why we have a safety car, because he crashed.
Yeah, I did not see the crash, but I did see a blue dot on the map that was stationary, and then shortly after that, a safety car came out. So it is unfortunate for KXI, because had the safety car not been because of him, well, he would have an opportunity to advance his position now, but sadly that's not the case. So we're going to have a 9-car race to decide it all. MDJ, unbeaten sign. Rage Hunter looks like it's going to be your top 3 when we do go back green, with Cabrinicon and Calvin your top 5.
Well, I was a bit surprised to see that this thing has caused a safety car after everything that we've had. I mean, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 DNFs before this one. Not a single safety car. We've had a lot of virtual safety cars, but now the car itself is driving on the track, and the drivers have to follow. And I have to say, it's a little bit unfortunate for MDJ. He's losing some time now. He's losing the gap that he was able to create, because he's forced to drive at a specific speed behind the safety car, and unbeaten sign is catching up to him.
Yeah, and it hurts when you're that driver that, you know, that's losing all that time, right? But that is the way that it works sometimes, sadly. But what I'm excited to see here is how all these drivers stack up on the same compound tire here for, like, what's going to be about a 5-lap, it seems, shootout to decide it all. Now, I'm noticing Sonic he's got 22 laps on those hard tires. I'm almost positive he's going to pull into the pits and put soft tires on. There's no reason why he wouldn't. So, we might see a slight change on the leaderboard here in a moment, but all the same, these 9 drivers will be duking it out for just a few more laps. Does MDJ truly have the quickest car here today? Guess we'll find out. And there is Sonic Hawk pitting for a set of soft tires, I will assume.
So it would be safe to say that the safety car benefited Unbeaten Sign mostly, and, well, benefited everyone aside from MDJ.
That would certainly be a fair assessment. Of course, Rage Hunter, I'm sure that he is very happy about the safety car because this brings him back into play. We were talking about how MDJ was gaining on him, and, well, still is, but the race isn't over yet. Rage Hunter could overtake MDJ. He could be standing on the top spot of the podium at the end of this. So this really makes the ending exciting for us, but if you're MDJ, you've got to be sweating.
And if you're sweating, you don't want the steering wheel to slip from your fingers.
Exactly. Waiting on the prompt that the safety car is going to come in. Looks like it will not be this time. We do got a few stragglers there in the back, so possibly looking at it to come in on the next lap. When it does come in, MDJ will be the control car, gets to decide when we go back green, as long as it's before the start-finish line. Unbeaten Sign in P2 will be looking to challenge our championship contender.
You know, here's a fun fact about Hungarian. It has been known that, well, not really known. I mean, there was a superstition that the driver who wins in Hungarian loses the championship, and it has been the case until Lewis Hamilton broke that curse in 2019, as he won in Hungarian and won the championship at the same time.
Well, MDJ loves to hear that then, because it means that maybe it won't carry over to the race today. Looks like all the cars are in a line, so we do expect the safety car to pull in this time. So what does that give us? About a 4-lap shootout to decide it all.
Well, I know I've said it first, and I'm gonna say it again, ladies and gents. Since we are behind the safety car, now you have enough time to run to the kitchen, grab yourselves your favorite snacks and drinks, because doctors recommend that it's 10 times more enjoyable to watch things while eating and snacks. I'm not a doctor, but yeah, that's what they say.
Unlicensed medical advice.
Exactly. Yeah.
On board with Unbeaten Sign, preparing for this safety car period to end. MDJ, he has dominated most of the day. Does he have what it takes to hang on for just a few more laps after this restart? Safety car will be in this lap. There's the confirmation. MDJ will be the control car. Unbeaten Sign just waiting for his move.
Now, MDJ is going to be exploiting the restart, doing his best to mess with everyone's nerves.
And through the final corner, MDJ still not going yet. He's got to be careful to avoid wheel spin, and we are green. MDJ maybe not getting the start that he wanted, but we are racing now, and it is a 1-2 breakaway with Rage Hunter half a second back, and now look at Unbeaten Sign trying to go around the outside of MDJ. Can't get the job done this time, and the fact that this was a late race safety car means that there's less chances for DRS, which is exactly what MDJ wants. Challenging hard, trying to defend against Unbeaten Sign, while we got Rage Hunter in a side-by-side battle with Cabriticon. It's almost like those two drivers have been racing each other all dang day. Unbeaten Sign now falling back behind MDJ, and Rage Hunter right up to the back of him now.
I think Unbeaten Sign has given away his opportunity for the lead of the race. He was very late on the brakes on turn 1, and he missed his apex, and as a result, he had a slower exit. So I think this is going to cost him a lot, unless he manages to recharge his ERS and then overtake MDJ using his ERS on the main straight.
On board with Rage Hunter, the third place car. You can see first and second just ahead, maybe a little bit faster than our points leader at the moment, but Rage Hunter just biding his time, trying to stick close with these guys for DRS when it's enabled. Not enabled yet. Unbeaten sign right on the back of MDJ, 0.3 of a second separating these two drivers. It seems like Unbeaten sign is quick in the first sector, and then through the second sector and third, he seems to really lose some time.
Purple sector 1 for Unbeaten sign.
We saw the gap down to about 0.2 of a second, up to 0.4 now, 0.5. Unbeaten sign, giving it his all. He knows all he's got to do is lead the last lap, but he has got to stick close to MDJ to have that chance. He's not going to have the advantage of DRS on that last lap because it's such a short distance between where the DRS zone starts and the start-finish line that it's not going to give him much help at all. So he's going to have to find a way around MDJ quick if he's going to win this race.
And take a look at something. Is that Rage Hunter has become a sitting duck. And there's a giant DRS train behind him, except that there is no DRS yet.
It has been activated though, so Unbeaten sign will get some DRS into turn number 2. Rage Hunter might have, but he's a little bit far back, so might have actually missed that opportunity. All the same, we're going to see a bit of aggression from these drivers down the front straightaway next time. That will be the final lap, by the way. So, Unbeaten sign running out of opportunities as he sets another purple first sector. MDJ, though, 0.8 of a second ahead of him.
And the chances of the victory are kind of slipping away from him.
Unbeaten sign, he's got realistically one more opportunity, and it is dwindling, 1.1 seconds. He needs to get within a second, and honestly needs to be closer than that to have the best opportunity at that overtake.
It's going to be very difficult for him. I mean, take a look at his ERS. He's very low on battery charge, 10% compared to 19%.
Yeah, you can
MDJ.
see that. Yeah, you can see that red light flashing on the back of the Ferrari. MDJ, though, white flag in the air, one more lap to go, and he is 1 second ahead of Unbeaten sign. As you saw, Rage Hunter actually run the fastest lap of the race that time, a 1:18 for Rage Hunter to MDJ's 1:19 earlier in this race. Unbeaten sign about a second behind, and Rage Hunter about half a second behind him. But MDJ, he has been the dominant force to be reckoned with all day today. And a late race safety car, well, it brought a significant challenge to his otherwise dominating performance. He has successfully held off Unbeaten sign. He's held off his championship competitor of Rage Hunter in P3, and if he can make it through one final sector of this race course, MDJ will be victorious in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Really a stellar drive from him today. We have seen the pace he has, and this could be a defining moment for this championship. Just 2 more corners to go, as behind him Rage Hunter trying to get into second place around Unbeaten sign, but it might be just a little bit too late for Rage Hunter. One more opportunity that he does not get. MDJ, meanwhile, crosses the line to win the Hungarian Grand Prix. Unbeaten sign in second, Rage Hunter in third.
My oh my, what a race. So we didn't expect the podium. We did expect the podium correct, but not in the correct order.
And it was MDJ, Rage, and it was MTJ, Unbeaten sign, and Rage. That was the top 3 with Calvin P4. Now, Caprinicon, you saw him cross the line in P4, but a time penalty saw him demoted a few positions. We will get your officially unofficial results here in just a moment, pending any steward inquiries, of course. But congratulations to MDJ on a hard-fought win.
And now it's time for all of these drivers to show us that they bought the battle pass and to show off with their celebrations.
And your officially unofficial results for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Hungarian Grand Prix: MDJ in first, Unbeaten Sign in second, Rage Hunter in third, Calvin in fourth, Cassidy in fifth, Sonicok in sixth, seventh is Cabriticon, Martin in eighth, I'm Just in Time in ninth, KXI in 10th, 11th is Bossy Gaming, 12th is Luke Bailey, Jime in 13th, 14th is Mental, Milton in 15th, and Lord Lamb in the 16th position. A chaotic race, but it ends with MDJ at the top spot. Sadly, there will be no interviews today as we are short of time, but once again, thank you, Salim, for joining us, and we hope that you had a good time, and we hope to look forward to seeing you with us again.
It has been a pleasure, Tim. Thank you. Very smooth communication. I think we were in very good sync, and the race was amazing. I really enjoyed this one, and I hope that the viewers were enjoying my voice, and hope to see you, everyone, next week. Thank you so much for having me.
And well said, I certainly agree. And with that, that is all the time that we have, but thank you to everyone who watched. Thank you to the drivers that race with us, and congratulations to our top 3 finishers. And until next time, good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world, have fun, and goodbye.